How's everybody doing? I know it's a Tuesday. It's Tuesday afternoon. But I think whatever you're feeling right now, I think you're gonna be feeling really good real soon when Jay Ivy comes up here. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about him, just really, really briefly, because after hearing him talk, you're gonna be mad that I said anything, because he's amazing. So you're in for a treat. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He's been on Def Poetry, HBO's Def Poetry 3 different times. He's been featured on Grammy Award-winning albums. He's a performance poet. He's an author. He's an actor. He's known for his work with Kanye West, Jay-Z, Slum Village, and John Legend. And one of the most interesting things, he just told us the story about this right now, he's actually responsible for giving John Legend his name. John Legend used to be John Stevens, and Jay Ivy gave him his nickname, John Legend, and so it was. He became John Legend after that. So, please put your hands together for hip-hop's favorite poet, Chicago native, Jay Ivy.
Hey. If you're feeling good, say yeah. If you're feeling good, say yeah. What's up, y'all? What's going on, York? It's good to be here. We just had an amazing first session. And I don't know if y'all heard, but I'm super excited to be here with you all because it's my birthday. Thank you. I'm here all week. So I'm super excited to be doing what I love to do on my birthday for you all. And I want to tell you some stories, share some poetry with you all. I'm a poet. And just want to chit-chat with you for a minute, if that's cool. Is that cool? All right. So my story starts on the south side. I was born, raised on 87th and Winchester before moving out to the south suburbs of Chicago. At the time, my mom, she was a nurse. She used to work at Cook County Hospital back in the day in dialysis units. And my father, he was a DJ. I would actually listen to my father on the radio before walking to school in the morning. And being a kid, I thought everybody's father was on the radio, I was a kid, who knew? But over time, I guess, the industry that my father was in lended itself to different things, and drugs and alcohol became a huge factor in my father's life, and that led to arguments, which led to fights, which led to separation, which led to divorce. And at the time, my mother, being a strong, beautiful black woman as she is, she didn't want to see me or my two brothers get swallowed up by the streets of Chicago. Our neighborhood, we lived in a very, very loving neighborhood, but at the time, that love was beginning to become more and more interrupted by drugs and by violence. And my mother, she didn't want to see anything happen to her babies. So she decided, after my brother went to high school, he went to Lindblom, she decided after he went to Lindblom that I wasn't going to high school in the city. So we moved to the south suburbs, and I went to this high school called Rich Central High School. Y'all know about Rich Central? All right, okay, thanks. So so I went to Rich Central. So while I was at Rich Central, I had this teacher, my junior year of high school, I had this English teacher, and her name was Miss Argue. And what I learned is that you're not gonna argue with somebody named Miss Argue. Who knew? So thanks. I hear you, thank you. So your name is Argue. So Miss Argue, one day, she gives us, the class, a homework assignment to write a poem. And I don't know about y'all, do we have any writers in the house? Well, oh yeah, there we go, what's up? Shout out to you. We got one, just one, a couple others. Writers, MCs, singers, any script writers, any authors? Okay, we here, I'm with you. So, at this time, I wasn't into poetry. I'm a hip hop baby. I grew up on hip hop. Those were my poets. Those were the storytellers that I turned to. But as far as like traditional poetry, I wasn't into it. Now I was good at writing notes to girls, cause back in my day, back in my day, we used to write notes. You know, before we was tweeting and texting and hitting the DM. You know, we had we had to write it down. Y'all know what that is? So there's a pen. We got this thing called a pen, and then they shave up wood and they call that paper. All right, anyway. So I was good at writing notes, but I didn't think of that as a gift. I didn't think anything special of it. You know, I knew if I needed to express myself that I could do that, but again, not a gift. So I go home to do my homework and to write this poem that Miss Argue asked us to write. And I'm looking around my room. I don't know what to write about, and I look out the window and I see some clouds. I'm gonna write a poem about these clouds changing form. So I wrote this poem called "It Once Was a Cloud." And again, it was about the cloud. You know how you look at the clouds and it looked like a weeping willow tree, and then it looked like the rubber nose of a clown. And it's just, I don't know what I was on. But anyway, I was really just trying to get done so I go hoop. My boys was down the street playing basketball, and I wanted to get out the house. So I was like, all right, let me write this poem, boom, 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 boom. And then I went outside. Next day I go to class expecting to turn my homework in to Ms. Argue like we always do. And Ms. Argue surprises the class and makes everybody read their poem in front of the class. So me, I was a very, very shy kid. I don't know if we have any shy kids in here, but I lacked confidence. I was super insecure about myself, and I could never imagine in a million years getting up in front of a room full of people and speaking. That just wasn't happening. So Ms. Argue, she made everybody read their class, so one by one, desk by desk, everybody read that poem, read that poem, read that poem. So me, I'm a shy kid. I hurry up and I read through the poem. It once was a cloud. Boom. I'm done. After class, Ms. Argue pulls me to the side and she said, you know what? Let me see that poem. She gives me an A on the poem. And I wasn't getting any A's or B's, some C's. But to have this big red A on this sheet of paper on something that I wrote that came from my mind, this had this red A blaring back at me. She had my attention. I was like, oh, wow. I was thinking, I can't wait to show my mama this, And Ms. Argue proceeded to say, you have a very nice speaking voice. I have a show coming up, and I want you to do this show. So now the shy kid with no confidence and insecure about himself was like, nah, Ms. Argue, I ain't trying to do that. That ain't happening. And it didn't. I didn't do the show. So a few weeks goes by, Ms. Argue, she approaches me again. She said, you know what? Last time I had a show, you faked me out. You didn't do the show. I got another show coming up. This time I'm not asking you. You have to do it. I have to do it. And it was something about the challenge of it all, something about the love in her voice, the caring attitude that she had. It didn't come from a malicious place. It came from a loving place. And I'm like, well, what do I have to do? So she gives me this piece to learn. And over the next few weeks, I rehearse. I was running track at the time. Any track stars? I mean, I wasn't a track star, but any track stars? I was on the track, but not a star, But anyway, I rehearsed, and then the show finally came around, and my first time ever on stage, I'm terrified, like hands shaking, knees shaking. You know when you at Great America, and you get on that new roller coaster, and it's the highest in the world and the fastest in the world, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then you get on the roller coaster, you strap in, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then tick, 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 tick. And then you get up there, you're like, man, I wanna get off of this. And you can't get off, you're just looking at the sky, and that's where I was. I was getting ready for this big drop, and that was me performing this piece. So I performed this piece, again, terrified, knee shaking, hand shaking, and my first time ever on stage, I received a standing ovation. And instantly, my life changed forever. I realized that I did have a voice. Man, people would listen to this shy kid who lacked confidence and was insecure. Man, the possibility of what can happen if I get past my fears. Whatever you do in life, you gotta have no fear. Say it with me, no fear. No fear. I don't believe you, no fear. Whatever it is you want to do, wherever it is you want to go, whatever dreams and goals you have, you got to have no fear. This moment, it taught me that. So after that, I was like, Miss Argue, when's the next show? When's the next show? When's the next show? So this is my junior year, so I did all of, the remainder shows of my junior year and my senior year. Every show we had, every assembly, every talent show, I was a part of it in one way or another. So it became like it became this real need. I had this outlet. Again, my pops, he was gone now. And now I had this beautiful outlet of poetry and performing poetry. And over time, it became a need. It was like I needed to do it. It was like I need to write. I need to sit my black, narrow behind down and write. Yeah, the hustle got me hustling, but I'm muscling myself out of time for me. Well, what about me, I ask? What about the stories that I need to tell? I need to write, because can't nobody do it for me. Can't nobody document my inspirations the way I can. Can't nobody compliment my aspirations the way I can. Only I can, only I can, only I can. So I need to write. I need to gather some words and write. I need to gather some thoughts and write. I need to write because I'm tired of hearing the same old pieces. I know y'all tired of hearing the same old pieces because the same old pieces got the same old problems, but I got new problems, more problems. Problems have changed. Problems are rearranged. This homeless cat asked me for some money but got mad at me because I ain't got no spare change. I need to write. Me and my girl been arguing. I need to write. My boy told me to take it to the next level, so I need to write. My pops died and it's hard dealing with it. I need to write. I know y'all can't wait for the book. I need to write. They done stole my hoopty. I need to write. The cops said I fit the description. I need to write. My little brother got mugged by some grown thug. I need to write. My ex tried to get my boy. I need to write. The weather been acting awfully funny. I need to write. You saying I'm bogus because I didn't come to your event because I was tired? I need to write. I distinctly remember asking for 6 wings of mild sauce. Why is it only half 4? I need to write. I think about writing in third person when the first is hurting. Life is a job and the verse is working. My soul's rehearsing for when the good Lord pulls the curtain. Words are words, or maybe it's your actions that's doing the cursing. I said, I think about writing in third person when the first is hurting. Life is a job and the verse is working. My soul's rehearsing for when the good Lord pulls the curtain. Words are words, or maybe it's your actions is doing the cursing. I need to write. Just yesterday, and I mean just yesterday, it was illegal for me to write. Where my pen at? I need to write. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's what I did, and that's what I would do. I would write, and I would write, and I would write, and it was almost as if each piece I wrote was a little piece of mirror, and the mirror would just start stacking up, stacking up, stacking up, stacking up. And slowly but surely, I started to see myself for the first time. And I realized that I did have purpose. I realized what my purpose was, because we all have purpose. We all have things that we were put here to do. And to realize what that was, it was, oh my God, it was amazing. It was like I finally found the cape that I've been looking for, so I could fly and do my thing. And I got really good. And I knew I was really confident. This is the first time I felt confident. My entire life, this is the first time I felt confident. And oddly enough, it was standing on a stage in front of a room full of people, exposed and being vulnerable and telling these stories and sharing what I felt in my heart and my mind. It was amazing to me. So I left high school and I went to Illinois State University. I stayed. Redbirds in the house? No? Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, you too. So I went to Illinois State, and when I got to school, it was more the same. It was man, just writing, and trying to find every stage I could find. So we would have a kickoff event at the top of the year. I was performing at that. talent shows that the fraternities and sororities would have throughout the year. The step show, I perform at the step show. I would go to other college campuses like U of I and Northern and wherever I could find a stage. I would go down to North Carolina because I have friends in North Carolina. I'd go down to my buddy's school, Winston-Salem State, go down and perform. Wherever I could perform, I would find a stage and just, express myself. But at the same time, when I was in college, what I realized is when I was back home, I had a lot of what I call positive distractions. I had my moms, my brothers, I had my family. I had my boys that I would kick it with and hang out with. I had the girls that I was chasing. I had sports, I played football and one year basketball. I got cut the other years, but never mind all that. And then I had track, and then I had the stage. I had all these things distracting me from who I was and where it was I wanted to go. And when I got to school, although I was surrounded by people, it felt like I was on an island. I felt so alone. And I started to take very, very deep looks at who I was. And it may have something to do with the age I was too. You started, 17, 18, 19, you start to look at who you are and who it is you want to be and become. And I was taking those deep looks at myself and again, realizing my purpose and wanting to grow in that purpose. We all were born great, and it's a matter of growing your greatness. It's a matter of getting the tools that you need to allow your greatness to grow and become who you were put here to be. Nobody is an accident. Nobody was put here by accident, So here I was taking these deep dives, and naturally what you do is you look where you come from, So I would look back home like, yeah, I'm Chicago. Yeah, look at the block I grew up on, the schools I went to, and, most naturally I would look at home. And when I would look at home, when I would think about home, I would think about my loving mother, my brothers, but I would also think about my father who wasn't there. And when I was little, my pops, he was one of my heroes, Again, he was on the radio. He had this beautiful, amazing voice. And it was just, if you could hear his voice coming out that radio, it was amazing. His voice was golden and velvet and strong and thunderous. And, and I would just sit there and listen. Again, I thought everybody pops on the radio too. So he was my hero. I would watch him help people around the neighborhood and fix on cars, and he would make these toy motorcycles, and we'd go to the Dan Ryan Woods and fly kites, and we'd go out to Rainbow Beach and, just look at the water and just have good times. So for him to not be there, it was devastating. And now that I was older and reflecting on my own feelings, it just made me really, really look at myself. And what I learned is if you don't deal with your emotions, one day your emotions go deal with you. All right? We're going to get back to that though. So I kept writing because that was my therapy. We didn't go to therapists in the hood. So, the pen became the person that I would cry out to when I needed to. And I would write these pieces and just try and find my calm, especially being a black man in America, dealing with a lot of different struggles and discrimination and oppression and all of that. And I remember I would write poems to myself like, they judge you before your eyes even open. Off jump, they coming for your throat before words are even spoken. When you touch down, you gotta let them know that you get things in motion, but be clear. They feel your dedication, they feel your devotion. They love and hate your skin tone, treat you like an immigrant when you've been home, bronze like the pennies the brother Abe owned, envy is the drug that they own, every breath I take is a hit, because we're striking like the ancient Egyptians they clone. Our people are beautiful down to the bone, down to the soul, control is a goal. We in the city of God because the slums is all they want us to know, and they think we did not know. Thought you was just street smart. Can't understand how you come up with this street art. Didn't understand they was dealing with men, women, mothers, fathers too. Yeah, some of ours slipped through the cracks, but the ones that we put nothing above, the way they look up to us, man, that's beautiful. Fly like the saucer's being flown. Yo, they tapping your line, so use your thoughts to iPhone home. Send moms a highlight tape of this Twilight Zone. We're extraordinary, extraterrestrial. ETs got them uneased, now they building space stations trying to police the ozone. Oh no. They're trying to protect their borders from illegal aliens visiting from other worlds. We were sent here by way of God's referral. Peel back our skin and see our light. Peel back the layers and see our fight. Get high off life. Rest your head on the cloud, dodge them chemtrails. If the walls could talk, they tell you they wouldn't want to walk in our shoes and listen to the tales our Tims tell. Came from the heavens, now we dwell in hell. Enslaved by a country that still hates me, wants me in jail. Discriminates against us, want to hold us down. Man, we too profound. That's why they want us to behave. Show us how they feel with 12 years a slave. Media hop on the field and they run their plays all day. They say and replay that you a thug, you a. All he want is our women, our gold, our figures. Ain't nothing but an animal with his claws on the trigger. There's a difference between brands and labels. They invite you to the table, try and label your brand, change the beat of your band, or orchestrate the land with your hand. Man, the challenge is staying balanced. Never too high, never too low. Stuck in the middle with a mean flow, a mean show. I see you, sis. I see you, bro. You can move any room, quiet any crowd, work any crowd. They can't quiet your loud, so keep feeding them and feeding them. It ain't black versus white. It ain't rich versus poor. It's wrong versus right. And what's right is that the babies keep eating and eating. You ain't never been a fool. So just remember to use your tools, be you. And no matter what they do, always remember that you gonna be cool. Hey. Why don't you have a talk with me so I can show you the sights that I see? Why don't you lend a thought to me so I can take you to places I be? Why don't you take a walk with me through this abstract mind, state of mind? Just felt like singing that, sorry. How y'all feeling, man? Y'all feeling good? So again, I was taking these looks at self. And what I learned is you're not going to be able to love others unless you love yourself, unless you're able to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, be proud of the person you see, and tell that person, I love you, I'm proud of you, go get it. Whatever it is you want to do in your life, you have to be able to go get it. What I also learned is there's a lot of power in words. Words carry energy. So the energy that you decide to put on the others, be mindful because that energy will come back to you. Maybe not from that person, but it's gonna come back to you. You go feel that boomerang. So it's important that you be mindful of the words that you speak on to others, the energy that you give to others, because you never know where people are at. There's a lot of people that's hurt, a lot of people that's going through it. So just always lead with love, man. Always lead with love. Even when it's hard, because you might not be in the best space, just try and find that love for yourself so you can have that love for others. So I was going through it down in college, and over time, I would sit down and to write a paper, and that paper turned into a poem. Sit down, write another paper, and that paper turned into a poem. And then I became, the more I looked at my home and my situation, the more hurt I would feel, and I would feel this heaviness and this sadness and this anger and this depression. Then I stopped going to class. I stopped going to work. I was working at TJ Maxx. But man, listen, when you go to TJ Maxx, Man, don't just be putting the clothes back any old kind of way. You know what I mean? Because, man, folk are really going through. You got to come back and fold them clothes up and all this. Man, but never mind. Sorry. Flashback. Flashback. Shout out to TJ Maxx. So, that might be my first TJ Maxx shout out ever. Well, I did the last session too, but never mind. But anyway, she liked that one. So I stopped going to class, stopped going to work, and then I found myself back at home, back in my mama's house. Now I'm staying in her basement. I wasn't in school. I wasn't working. I felt like I disappointed my mama. She refused to get loans, so she was coming out her pocket, out her hard-earned money to send me away to go to college. And now here I am feeling like I wasted her money and her energy and her time. And I didn't want to be a failure in her eyes. And I was like, the only thing that I know I'm good at is poetry and performing that poetry. That's the only thing I know that I'm good. I'm great at. I'm confident in this. So I'm going to get out here and I'm going to beat the streets and I'm going to find every stage I can and I'm going to share my gift with whoever is willing to listen. And I was only 19 at the time. So I would go out and I would perform at, anywhere I could find. I would go out and just rock stages and rock stages. And over time, again, I realized that, the power of words, because I was seeing the effect that these words were having on people. And then I also realized, man, it's almost like there's this spiritual warfare going on. It's a lot of good and evil battling, and then I found myself writing pieces like there's a war outside and nobody's safe. It used to be overseas, now it's in your face, on your doorstep is where war's kept. The playground is the battleground, it's a real battle now. The cattle now is genetically modified. Whoever told you that the beef we eat don't matter lied. You see, that's part of the strategy. The war ain't physical, it's about spirituality, which translates any ideology and foreign policy. They hand out orders while they battle over borders. Back home, they don't support us. They encourage mothers to abort us. Try to convince them that they can't afford us. They call in the National Guard, now they marching toward us. The intel says we inhale underspells, battling angels that fail. Planes flying in the building, strollers blowing up. The headlines, the deadlines filled with killings, them boys in blue rolling up. A 2-year-old baby girl got gonorrhea. Now how was that growing up? More than ever, the devil's been showing up. Don't confuse it. You don't believe me? Turn on the radio. You can hear it in the music. Now, I love my land, but they ain't always loyal. If they are, why they got a patent on the seeds and the soil? Soon it's gonna be rain and oil. Results of America growing up spoiled. The wheels falling off, the springs are uncoiled. Who needs chains when we gladly entered the net? Jail cell signals killing the bees, I guess we next. The monster is the machine. They send you to jail for killing dogs while they shoot little black boys. Things ain't what they seem. I sleep with a pen in my hand so I can write my dreams. This is my inception. The words are my reflection. I don't need runways to model me. They say he off beat. I'm a poet. The beat follows me. So I'm in this battle, trying to find the good in me, trying not to be conquered by lower self, while higher self is trying to, be the best and spread love and share this gift with others. And over time, it was a real battle, and I would really just find joy connecting with people and performing for folks. I would find a lot of joy in that, sharing my gifts. Whatever your gift is, nurture that gift. Put time into it, There's nothing that you cannot do. And it's important that you know that. And I would learn that because at the time I'm doing poetry. It's not very a super common thing to be doing, especially back in my day. Back in my day, it wasn't many of us that were doing poetry and doing it. Now I'm doing it as a profession. I had a 9-to-5 for a little bit, but after a while, it became my profession. So I found myself, going around doing shows, And as time went on, my name started to get out. You know, I started to move around the country. Now I'm doing shows, man, all over the place. And then this show came along called HBO Deaf Poetry. Y'all heard of Deaf Poetry? Yeah, you old too, huh? So y'all ever heard of Def Comedy Jam? Okay. So after Def Comedy Jam, they decided to do Def Poetry Jam. And then they shortened it to Def Poetry. And it was tens and thousands of people around the country and around the world trying to get on this show. And in the first season, they selected like 52 people. And man, it was an amazing story. Don't have time to share it. It's an amazing story. I ended up being one of those 52 people on the show. So I go and do this show, and after doing the show, I decided, and I went on, when I did it, I did this poem called I Need to Write. It was this poem that I wrote one day out on the lake, out at the point, just mad and frustrated one day. I wrote this poem, and then here it is a few years later now, millions of people are seeing me perform this poem. And it just really blew my mind, like the places, time will take you. If you get past the fear, stay focused and keep working towards your dreams. So after that, I decided to move to New York. And it was filled with mixed emotions because during this time period, shortly before I moved, my father, he passed away. And it was devastating. We had a chance after 10 plus years, we did have a chance to reconnect. And we reconnected after my cousin, she told me, she said, you have to learn how to forgive. If you don't learn how to forgive, you go carry that pain with you for the rest of your life. And I didn't want to feel, down and out and depressed and angry and sad for the rest of my life. Like, that ain't me. I'm trying to live like every day's my birthday. It's my birthday, y'all. So, but I'm trying to, feel good. I want to, we here for a blink of an eye. So I want to enjoy that blink. I want to enjoy it. And she talked to me about forgiveness. And I was like, man, how do I forgive somebody who ain't even around, I haven't seen. But I decided one day after I had this very, very emotional moment, I was at church and I just cried out to God, and I was like, God, I forgive my father. I just want to see him. I want to tell him I miss him. I want to tell him I love him. This was a Thursday. 2 weeks later, on a Thursday, after 10 plus years, out the blue, my father called me. And we had a chance to reconnect. And that Sunday, I went over to his house to go see him. And like when I was a kid, we watched the Bears game. And I was telling him about, what I was doing with my poetry. And it was just this amazing, beautiful moment. So a year and a half later, I was so grateful for that moment because a year and a half later, he passed away. And I was really going through it. I'd gone to New York, got really good wearing a mask because I'm out there and I'm doing stuff at MTV. And I'm hanging out with cats like Kanye West. I don't know if y'all heard of him. He's dope. He rap, he produce, man, he make clothes, he got these dope shoes. Y'all should, man, Google him. He married this girl named Kim. They got some beautiful kids. Like, man, check him out. He's super, super dope. So I'm out there hanging out with him and other folks, and it was just an amazing time. So I couldn't go around them with this cloud over my head, so I got good at wearing a mask. But when I would get back home, I was staying in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. When I would get back to Brooklyn and get back to my own island, the heaviness would come back. So one day my mom, she called me up, and she said, boy, what's wrong with you? Something's going on. You ain't been talking to me. You ain't been talking to Tari. Tari, that was my girlfriend at the time. Well, we had broken up, but we was talking every day still. We got married. It's cool. It worked out, but just hey Tari, hey baby. so we my mom's like, you ain't been talking to me. You ain't been talking to Tari. What's going on? And for the first time, I decided to open up and tell my mother how I felt. And my mother, she listened to me. She said, look, she said, your father was a good man. Let him rest in peace. And I realized, how when mamas talk, you listen. But it was something about, I was like, well, my rationale was like, well, if anyone had the right to speak ill of him, it would be her, because she's been through the most with him, and here she is speaking positive about him. And yeah, he was a good man. And you know what? Once upon a time, my father, he was a child too, and he was hurt in his childhood. He was abused in his childhood. He had traumas in his childhood that he didn't heal from. And y'all know what they say, hurt people hurt people. So he grew up and never dealt with that pain. So in this moment, I decided to write my father a letter. I decided to write him a poem. Later on, before I share that poem with you, later on, the poem turned into a book. And the book is called Dear Father, Breaking the Cycle of Pain. And I want to share this with you just because this is an example of a dream come true. Whatever thoughts, ideas you have in your mind, know that you can make it happen. Know that it can become a physical thing. You know, so whatever it is, do the most and don't give up on your dreams. So I want to share this poem with you, and it may come off as a sad poem, but it's actually the happiest poem I've ever written in my life because it made me a much better person and a much better man. And it's called Dear Father. I wish you could have seen me do my thing. I wish you could have been there the first time I sang. I wish you could have seen how your baby boy flow. I wish you could have seen me rock just one show. I wish you could have seen me do my thing. I wish you could have been there the first time I sang. I wish that you didn't have to go. I wish you could have seen me rock just one show. Dear Dad, these words are being written and spoken because my heart and soul feel broken. I laugh to keep from crying, but I still haven't healed all of my years of my goofiness and joking. You got me open, hoping this ill feeling will pass, won't last. I wear a mask so my peace won't ask for the truth. Truthfully speaking, the truth hurts, but I'm beyond hurting. I'm in pain. Why does it hurt so much? I find myself fighting with myself every day to remain sane. My peace thing got changed, maybe tripping on my fame, but I'm still the same old James. I know it's a shame I don't come around as much, but I don't want them to see me acting strange. I don't want them to feel one drop my rain, but I can't seem to get these feelings to stop. I can't get these thoughts on my brain. Now when I really need to reach out for your dad and touch your hand, I can't believe you're out of range. I'm starving for your love and I'm begging, please ease the crave. When I was little, I thought you left because I wouldn't behave. Later on in life, I found out that it was the cane as well as other things, and with all the scars, it was hard, but I learned to forgive and forgave. I forgave him missing my basketball games and the touchdowns I scored at the football games. I forgave him coming home high and drunk, wrestling while my mother going insane. I forgave him missing all of my track meets and not being able to greet all the pretty girls that I wanted you to meet. I forgave him missing my birthdays and graduations and not being there when I needed advice in certain situations. I forgave despite the fights and tears for all the years lost, wondering if I was loved. Sometimes all I needed was a call and a hug. I mean, I understand that people break up and don't make up and some relationships don't last forever, but why weren't we together? Mine could have found new man, but why was I gonna find new dad? Looking back, I wish I'd obeyed me, pleaded my case, because I felt like I didn't matter, like I was deleting the race. I would cry, still cry so much I get headaches. I try to get you off my mind, but I can't get you off of my face. I see you every time I see me, and I can't do nothing but ask God to bless me, expand my territory, place his hands on me, keep evil far away from me. I asked him to protect me like I wanted you to protect me from the bullies and the police. Now to protect my soul, I write poetry and release, and some say I'm a beast, but I'm just trying to find peace so I can pick up the pieces of me that falling apart. I stopped all over for love, and I ended up with a lot of good items in my cart that help me pull out the dart and help me get out the dark, one being my art. But along the way, all of my decisions weren't so smart because my love was amputated. My life became complicated. My family, well, Dad, I don't know if you knew or not, but my sweet, sweet family became dysfunctional. I mean, I remember hiding under the dining room table when you and Mama fight. I remember dishes, pots, and pans being put in flight. I remember the hole that you punched in the wall. I remember my calls at work and told me not to let you win, and you broke in, told me I'm gonna get y'all. I remember the alcohol and the smoke and going to the bathroom every 5 minutes so I wouldn't choke. I remember you called me out the blue and told me I had a brother that died that I never knew. I remember you snatched my chain wheels off my little orange bike and making me ride when I was only 2. I remember when you pushed mom, she broke her ankle. I remember sitting there thinking, how could you do this to such a beautiful angel? I remember mom waking us up in the middle of the night saying, shh, Jimmy, be quiet. Put some clothes in the jewels bag. We going to grandma's, and if your father come up to your school, don't tell him where we'll be. I remember spending Christmas at grandma's playing with my Stretch Armstrong, thinking, man, this ain't my house. I wonder how Santa Claus found me. I remember your stinky feet. I remember all that pepper that you would put in those ghetto meals that you would fix for us to eat. I remember listening to you on the radio, WVON, before I would go to school. I remember all those cars and planes that you were making. All the kids on the block thought that my dad was so cool. I remember you ran down the car and I was thinking, man, Dad's fast. I remember how you would curl your mustache. I remember the past. I remember the good and the bad. I remember thinking, is this love false? I remember us moving to the birds and my boys to play some of love that was lost. And they made me laugh and giggle. And my boy even taught me how to dribble so I could make the team, and I did. I thought that I would die without you, but Ron, Drake, Ike, Egg, and Todd made sure that I lived and was never sad. They even gave me their dads. Mr. Kemp, Mr. Whitaker, Mr. Cross, and Mr. Price became my dads, my cool daddies. But the little boy in me still wants his daddy badly. I feel like a scared little boy afraid to become a man, but I think I'm ready. I think it's time. I think it's time to shine to get mine. I think it's time to shine to get mine so I can ease my mind, let my soul climb. I think it's time to stand as a man of my own too, just like you used to do before those demons started hunting you. Because all I want to do is make you and my proud, and I wonder if you are. I wonder if you know. I wonder if you know that God gave me a gift. I wonder if you know about the spirits that I lift. I wonder if you know I touch people with my words. I wonder if you know I inspire actions with my verbs. I wonder if you know that your baby boy did a show that aired for me to see on HBO, and that hard New York crowd that I didn't even know actually gave me a standing no. I know you're proud. I know you are. Because I'm going to be the best just like you want to be. Watch and see. In case you can't, just in case you can't, I'm going to scream it so loud that shake the clouds and move them out the way of my sunshine. Because that's what you are, Dad. James Ivy Richardson Sr., do you hear me? You are my sunshine. That's why I forgave you. Because my love for you is still the same. It may have gone through a transformation, but it never really changed. So I swear on my mama and on my name, I'm going to stop this rain, conquer this pain, make sure that you did not die in vain. And when I get to heaven, when I get to heaven, I'm going to jump in your arms. We go kick back like when I was little and watch the Bears game. I wish you could have seen me do my thing. I wish you could have been there the first time I sang. I wish you could have seen how your baby boy flow. I wish you could have seen me rock just one show. I wish you could have seen me do my thing. I wish you could have been there the first time I sang. I wish that you didn't have to go. I wish you could have seen me rock just one show. So, thank you. Thank you. So, I know time is winding down, and whoever it is you need to forgive, close, far away, even yourself, make sure you forgive whoever that is, because it's much harder to get to where you're going when you got a lot of heaviness and a lot of baggage that you're carrying along with you. Let it go. Be free, be happy, find your joy, fight for your joy so you can get there to where you're trying to go. So I want to give y'all one example of the power of forgiveness before we get out of here. And that came months after I wrote this poem. A few months later, again, I'm hanging out with this cat named Kanye West. And I get a call from my buddy named Cootie. Cootie, he used to be a comedian, but now he's a filmmaker. And at the time, he was documenting Kanye. And he calls me up, and he was like, man, Kanye got this song with him and Jay-Z on it. He want to, y'all know, so Jay-Z, man, he's like super dope. He rap. He like a billionaire. He married this girl named Beyonce. She got like a beehive or something. Like, man, like amazing. It ain't Honey. I don't know what it is. Like, she do music. You know what I mean? Like, check him out. Amazing. So he gives me a call and says, man, Kanye got a song with him and Jay-Z on it. He want to put a poet on it. And I told him he need to put Jay Ivy on it. I'm in Brooklyn, broke. Like, come on, man, stop playing. That ain't funny. You know, he like, nah, dog, you need to get to L.A. right now. Like you need to get out here tomorrow if you can. I was like, okay, you for real? So he plays a song for me on the phone. I really couldn't hear the words, so he's telling me what Kanye's saying in his verse, telling me what Jay-Z saying in his verse, Kanye saying in his verse. He like, get out here. So I hang up the phone. I said, I'm gonna find a way. I hang up the phone, and I said, my first thought was, you need to write something right now. Y'all heard the be ready so you don't have to get ready? This was that moment, right? So I turned to a blank page, confident that I could do this. And I wrote the title down, Never Let Me Down. You ever heard that song before? Never Let Me Down. Nobody? Feel young, okay. So I wrote the date down, and I wrote the first line that came to my mind. We all here for a reason on a particular path. You don't need a curriculum to know that you're a part of the math. Then my mind went completely blank. So I'm like, no, this ain't the time for writer's block. So I started banging on the page. I was like, God, I need a piece right now. Please give me one right now. I put my hand back to the page, and my hand just started moving, writing. Wrote a full page, turned the page over, wrote a few more lines. I stopped, I read over the piece. I was like, man, it's kind of hot. I read over like 4 or 5 times. I called Cootie back in 10 minutes, like, listen to this. So I spit the poem for Cootie over the phone. He like, oh, man, that's crazy. Is it time to go? 1 second. He like, that's crazy. He like, man, put you on speakerphone, spit it again. I spit the poem again. Room goes crazy. Then I hear Kanye like, man, spit it again. I spit it again. I did the joint for like a half hour. The piece is a minute long. So I did it over and over again. And then Cootie finally got back on the phone and said, Jay, guess what? I said, what? He said, Kanye flying you out here tomorrow. I said, I found my way. So I want to do this poem for y'all to close out. It's called Never Let Me Down. I do need a little help. Tari, Teray, can you please come up here, please? I need, whenever you hear me say, get up, I get. Y'all know the joint. Yeah. Let's try one out while Tari come up here. Get up, I get. All right. Get up, I get. Okay, so we go get this. Where you at, Tari? This is Tari Teray. Y'all get up for Tari Teray. Hey. So she's singing on the song with John Legend. She gonna sing the hook and we go get busy. One thing I found. Get up, I get. 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 We all here for a reason on a particular path. You don't need a curriculum to know that you're a part of the math. Guys think I'm delirious, but I'm so serious. That's why I expose my soul to the globe, the world. I'm trying to make it better for these little boys and girls. I'm not just another individual. My spirit is a part of this. That's why I get spiritual. But I get my hymns from him, so it's not me, it's he that's lyrical. I'm not a miracle. I'm a heaven-sent instrument. My magnetic regiment navigates melodic notes to your soul and your mental. That's why I'm instrumental. Vibrations is what I'm into. Yeah, I need my loot by rent day, but that ain't what gives me the heart of Kunta Kinte. I'm trying to give us free like Senke. I can't stop. That's why I'm hot. Determination, dedication, motivation. I'm talking to you, my many inspirations. While I say I can't let you or self down. If I on the highest cliff, on the highest rift, and you slipped off the side and clutched onto your life in my grip, I would never, ever let you down. And when these words are found, let it be known that God's penmanship has been signed with a language called love. That's why my breath is felt by the deaf, and while my words are heard and confined to the ears of the blind. I too dream in color and in rhyme, so I guess I'm one of a kind in a full house, because whenever I open my heart, my soul, or my mouth, a touch of God rains out.
True, it makes true to me. One thing I found, although you never let me down. Y'all not, where y'all energy at? It's low.
They just ate lunch. Y'all just eat lunch?
Y'all got the itis?
No, y'all hungry?
No?
We gonna get real. It's my birthday, y'all. Let's do it again. Come on.
When it comes to being true, it makes true to me. One thing I found, although you never let me down.
Get up, I get, 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 get up, I get. Hey, give it up for Tari Teray. My name is Jay Ivy. Thank y'all for letting me spend my birthday with you all, man. Best birthday gift ever. Love y'all much. Peace, 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 peace.